difficult conversations. Enjoy the short skit that we have prepared. Adam is a disgruntled employee having a performance review with his manager Navin and HR manager Nishan. For your viewing pleasure. The story and all names, characters, and incidents portrayed in this production are fictitious. No identification with actual persons living or deceased, places, buildings, and products is intended or should be inferred. Hey, boss, you're here already.
Yes.
Hi, boss.
Hi, how are you?
Sorry, I'm a bit late. I'm good. I'm wearing a shirt inside. Here you go, shirt. Let me show you. Okay, I got a shirt inside. Sorry, the dress code and all. So yeah, been a tiring day, very tiring day today. A lot of work. Tired.
That's all right.
So, how are you, boss?
I'm good. How about yourself?
Okay, not bad lah. A lot of work lah. Non-stop. Especially working from home. It's been a real struggle. Every day, just trying to manage everything. It's difficult. Having 5 kids, and then having to manage the household and work. So work also non-stop. You all never reduce the workload. Also, workload getting more. COVID or no COVID, more and more work. But anyway, sorry, boss. Sorry. So why are we here today?
All right. So as you know, today we're going to discuss about your yearly performance review.
The what?
Your yearly performance review.
Oh, so fast already. Yearly what is it? Yearly performance?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, okay.
So please did you not read the email?
What email? I just saw the invite from you, Mr. Navin. That's all. Who's the other person? Let's see another person.
We have the HR manager also on the call.
Okay.
Hi, Adam. Yeah, because it's a yearly performance review, right? So from the HR team, we'll be present as well to look through.
But last year you all never come, also.
How we changed the policy? Haven't you received any notification on that?
No, there's so many emails. We all, how many emails we deal with, right? One day, 50, 60 emails. I don't know how many you get, but we get a lot from customers and all. So you're sent to the same mailbox, very hard to see. So,
correct.
I'm sorry. But it's good. It's good. I can protect my rights as an employee, right?
Correct. We are here to protect everybody's right from all the departments. So, Naveen, you want to start the review session with Adam? I'll be here.
Right. Just to inform you, Adam.
So before that, boss, just want to let you know, last year my agreement was very good. It helped me a lot, especially with my family and all. I have a big family. And then, I hope you understand also this year is a bad year. A lot of people struggling. I'm also struggling. So I hope you can consider this before you reveal the amount that I'm going to get.
Okay. All right. So I understand the current situation is a bit hard to work from home, and definitely your increment last year is going to be different to this year.
But I'm doing the same job.
Yes, I understand you're doing the same job, but there are certain KPIs that needs to be met in order for you to qualify for the increment.
Okay.
So just to let you know, this year there won't be any increment on your salary. But the good news is that you are entitled for your bonus, your yearly bonus. Unfortunately, this year there won't be any increment on your salary.
But why?
If you want, so as we have checked, quarterly you have not met the minimum required KPI, and at least one quarter you have met. I would be able to justify this to HR.
You always give me all kinds of projects to do. Ask me to go and buy makan for the people. Last time in the office time, I go and buy for them. That day the cleaner pengsan, the cleaner lady pengsan, you ask me to go and help her. I go and help her. I bring her to clinic also. And then during these times, the working from home, I help all the employees, get them, used to the system, the new employees and all. So I'm doing a good job.
Yeah, definitely that would help on your career, your development as an individual. And also that's the reason why I also have tried to push your bonus for this year.
Bonus is one of those. My salary increment every month, I need that.
True that, but unfortunately, as I've already mentioned to you, I'll send you your scorecard, and I'll show you that you have not met.
What do you think? Sorry, boss, I have to cut you off because you really make me feel like I'm worthless in the company. So Mr. HR, so how can you help me? This is ridiculous because I've been doing my job. The KPIs, KPI, let me finish lah. KPIs during when you're working in the office and working at home is different, ma. How can you set the same expectation for me? Not fair.
See, completely understand from your perspective as well. But when you signed up,
why you look so angry?
For this particular role, who's angry? Sorry.
Why you look so angry, one?
No. It's just that it's been a tough day today. So I'm not angry. I'm completely fine.
I'm just smiling, ma.
Yes, but coming to what you have mentioned, Adam, completely understand your concerns, right? Where you're coming from, but there is a policy that you need to abide to, right? So we have set that policy, and you have agreed to, follow that policy. You are understanding that KPI should be met. Then your increment. See, at the end of the day, you should know lah, right? Increment is not.
I hope you also get your salary cut lah. You also don't get increment lah. I hope so. All of you is the same.
See, on management side is a different level altogether.
Oh, management, you're not human beings. You're different people.
Certain things that we won't be able to reveal to you, but COVID situation has brought us a lot of challenges. Companies also not doing as great as previous years, right? But that doesn't mean that we want to or purposely looking to not give you your bonus or your increment, right? So there is a certain set of criteria that we would need to put in factor to look into it, right? So I believe your height.
Sembang with 10x. We are having a special session today. It's called Difficult Conversations with Mr. No Izwan. Obviously, we have our panel speakers, as usual, from the 10x group. So we have Naveen and Nisha. Yep.
Hello.
So I hope you guys enjoyed the short skit that we performed for you.
I'm sorry, controlling my laugh.
Yeah, I mean it's something real. I mean, I'm sure a lot of us have gone through situations where we either on the receiving end of a difficult conversation or are giving a difficult conversation or handling a difficult conversation. So that's why we chose this topic today. The world has changed as we have it. We don't face-to-face interact with people a lot. We face-to-face it, but it's more virtual. So it's a little bit different from what it was in the days gone by. It's been 2 years now, almost 2 years. Is it 2 years already? 2 years already, more than 2 years. No,
it's really
no, it's
a year now.
2020.
Yeah, so
it's been a year lah.
About a year plus lah, just over a year. Where most of us have been working from home. Sporadically, we have been to the office, but yeah. So conversations sometimes can be misinterpreted, either when you send a text message, voice message, or even if you send an email, it can be misinterpreted. And even on video, you tend to catch the smallest facial expressions, like how I caught my HR manager earlier being very serious on the conversation. These things mean a lot.
Damn.
Yeah, so that's why we have our specialist in this area, Mr. No Izwan. You want to just put the next slide, Sean? So let's welcome Mr. No Izwan. So while we are bringing him on screen, No Izwan has been a good friend to all of us from the 10x group. He's one of our resident trainers. He's a Lean Six Sigma Black Belt holder. And I think beyond that, beyond being a trainer, Izwan is a great coach. He's a great mentor also. I have learned so much from Izwan just in this very regular 5-minute conversations that we had, or even an hour, 2-hour conversations that we had at 2 in the morning. But yes, I think without even a thought, the three of us, when we thought about this topic, the first person that came to mind was Izwan, because we knew that he would be the best person to give the industry's best practices, or even just from his own experience on how he handled or how we should handle a difficult conversation. So welcome on board today, Mr. Izwan.
Thank you. I have a question, Adam.
Yeah.
So what happened to the employee? Did he abscond or did he resign or what? Did he just walk out?
Terminated the call.
He
So I
just
guess,
hung up.
Or go to labor court the next day.
no, I guess like every employee, I was pissed. I logged off, and then from tomorrow until next Monday, I probably log in late every day just to prove a point. And then I would probably then circle around and try to have a conversation with my boss again. Try to negotiate if you can give me at least 10% or 5% of the usual increment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah.
It's always a very challenging situation to be in. I mean, I've never been a HR manager or manager someone reporting to me, but it's pretty tough, lah.
Yeah, it is.
Sometimes you don't know when they can catch you off guard, right?
Yeah, and I think a lot of it has to do with the conversation or the topic that we're having. Obviously, if it's something like this, it's a very stressful thing to do. Not only from the employee side, expecting their increment amounts or their bonuses or promotions, but it's also for the leaders. The leaders go through a lot. I have had sleepless nights with some of the viewers. I know they're on this watching this right now. I have not. I've been with them, not slept for like 2 or 3 days, trying to get all the reviews out, and yeah, it's stressful from both ends, what are your thoughts about that, Izwan?
Okay. Performance review, either you want to call it focal or whatever, right? So this is always something that people always look forward to. Number one, people always talk about. People will even gossip, even before and after, right? It's always that. But the question is, why it became such a big deal? That's the first thing we need to understand. For us to understand why the employee reacted that way. Example, like Adam, like you demonstrated, why the HR manager or even the boss, right, actually reacted such a thing. What's the psychology behind it? Now, it's simple. We always, who will work for free? You tell me. I don't think I see that many people actually willing to do for free. There are people, like who's willing to get a very low pay and things like that because of the passion. But I would say in general, most people will go for pay lah. And they always have this kind of mentality of, okay, I want to get increment because I want to make my economy stronger. In fact, you might never know behind the scene, maybe the employee has something in mind or plan. Like, okay, maybe I want to buy a new car, for example. So, okay, they like to project upfront. So, in other words, the employee already set an expectation in a way. He or she already put the expectation. I project 8% or 15% increment. So once the person put on an expectation, the chances to be disappointed is much higher. You see, it's like, like the Murphy's Law, right? Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. So I would think that because people don't see a bigger picture. People don't look about, okay, fine, how's the company situation? Example, let's talk about the pandemic, for example. I think Nisha was mentioning about, the company's in, with the pandemic mode. So it's not, we have to cut things down and everything, right? So most people, they don't see a point that, okay, it's either I'll take the money, I don't care, I want the increment, or some people think it's okay, I'll give in because I need to make the company to stay afloat. It's better to still have a job rather than not having a job at all. But it all depends. But like I said, why it became such a stressful conversation was because of expectation of the employee. Number one. From the boss's side, the boss, if you notice just now, Nabi was saying, okay, no increment, but I'm willing to give you a bonus. Example. The boss already thought that he or she has everything covered. No problem. I think he can take it. It's like a bribe in a way. It's like you think you can bribe me? You think I'll be happy with this? Then the boss will be like, okay, this is not what I expect. Then the boss will start to feel inside, even if it doesn't say out loud. He feel like, wow, you're really ungrateful person. Or I've worked so hard for you. At least I'm giving you a bonus, and yet you still talk to me like that. So this is when the clash of the titans start to happen. Why? It's because of, I would say, inaccurate expectation is being set, or you set the bar way too high, right? Rather than looking into an employee example, okay, if you didn't get a lot of increment, blah, blah, right? Okay, he or she, before going into the conversation with the boss, needs to know, did I really do that well? That is the first thing. That is the first thing. Before I cut short, I just give you one example. I did give before a performance review to one of my staff. Okay. Basically, I mean, he did quite okay, in my opinion. This was very interesting, but we couldn't have time because we were flying at the 30th. That time was with Air Asia, right? So I give his performance review on the plane. A bit more relaxed, a bit chill, because I know he's not going to scream in front of everybody in the whole plane, right? On the security will come. But I just asked him one question. I said, okay, let's just call him Mike, for example. I said, okay, Mike. First question, how do you rate yourself? Do you think she got outstanding or successful or poor? And at first he was like, it took him like 10 seconds to think. Then he was like, okay. He was trying his luck. Say, boss, I think I should get outstanding. Okay, good. That's what you really sure you should get outstanding? Yeah, boss, I think I did a good job. Got outstanding. Okay, I respect you for that, for your opinion. But ask him, can you tell me something like maybe a few reasons that that's outside from your job description in terms of achievements? He just kept quiet. He started thinking for 2 minutes. He couldn't give me not even a single one. Then he asked me, so are you saying that I should be under poor rating? I said, no, not under poor rating. Come on, man. I told him that I think you should be under successful. That means you meet your the expectation. You get increment, but obviously not like what you hope to 15-20% of promotion, because you are fulfilling what you've been paid to do all the while. That means within your JD. Like example, Adam was talking also just now. He said, oh, I done this, I done that, I helped this fella. Now, the thing he did deliver, then he mentioned to me, hey, but boss, I did this, I did that. But I said, yeah, but it's not aligned to what I want. It's not aligned to what I want. It's not aligned to the department goal, right? So you're doing something that is extra that no one asked you to do. Even if I didn't ask you to do it, but you should be smart enough to know whether will this impact the department's result or not. Right? Or else, if that is the case, everyone would try to go around the whole office like to look for something to do. Like which cartoon was it? Was it Family Guy? Oh, look busy. Oh, I'm looking busy. That kind of thing. So it doesn't make sense. But like I said, people start into a big argument because of the expectation. The feeling of disappointment. That is the thing, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, having a performance review, I mean, like what, 15,000, 36,000 feet up in the air. Wow, that must have been an experience.
It was, because in the end, I managed to cool him down because he got increment, right? But I started to let him to open up a bit more personal. I told him, I don't want to do it until personal stuff unless you let me. Okay, they started to open things up. Okay, he said actually he plans the same scenario just now. He said actually I already plan to buy this, buy that, buy this, buy that. Okay, that's the whole thing. And I told him, you should have told me way up front, if that was your aim in the first place. In the beginning of the year, we could have worked together to figure out how to make your dream come true. Then I would have known how to really follow up with you, remind you, hey, come over here. No, you remember about the car you wanted? Okay, I set the proper alignment, like a very good alignment with him, and always follow up with him to ensure that his dream comes true. You see, this is the part I tried. He feel like, okay. So because people always have this negative mind about when talking about boss, right? They always create a gap. They will always create a gap. Because why? The mentality is that you're the boss. I'm just a, small screw or whatever, right? You want to call it. But they don't understand that if you are aligned to the boss, right? I mean, I'm not saying that you have to open up everything, right? But something like, say, boss, actually, this is my dream, this is my, so I want to make it happen. Can we work together? No, work together. The boss will know, okay, this is what motivates him or her. So then the boss will know how to set expectation, and the boss will know how to coach him and her because the person has a motivation, right? So make use of that motivation to drive him. If the boss doesn't even know what motivates the person, the boss will never be able to drive the person towards success.
Right. All bosses should be like you, lah.
No, not really, lah. I mean, because why? Another thing, what people fail to see is one thing. people fail to see that bosses are also human beings. That is a problem.
True, agree.
Absolutely.
Correct.
I think before we go to this this question here, I have one. Maybe all three of us or all four of us can try to give our take on this. So there's one excuse that the HR manager and the state utilize, which I find it being used more and more over the past few months and maybe a year, is that it's the pandemic. So unfortunately, we're not doing that well. But yeah, so you're not going to get increment, or you're not going to get a bonus. What are your thoughts about this? Let's start with Izwan.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I know the pandemic is actually a very tough time for many people, but funny enough, there are industry actually gain from the pandemic. Okay, if we talk medical industry, kind of, right? People always think medical industry will boom. Yes, to a certain extent, yes. But surprisingly, semiconductor companies are making a big wave, huge wave. Like they can't even meet to the demand, right? Because because of people staying at home, working from home, right? So you need technology more. Okay, now that's why I said, like, it depends on how you look at things. In the sense of, if I know myself, let's say it hits me, my company say, okay, Izwan, we're gonna cut your salary 15%. I know it's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying that everyone should like accept it blindly, but I'm saying that take it with a grain of salt. I mean, it's a tough time for everybody. So he or she must think, okay, if let's say, if he or she is lucky, okay, I'm not happy, I leave my job. Okay, bye-bye. But can he or she get another job? Number one. That's the first thing. Okay, because I said, okay, if you want to leave, it's up to you. I mean, it's a free world. But, or if you're very good, comfortable with the culture, you have a very good team, right, in your current workplace. So what if you were to give in a little bit, right? Because, like they say, play hard, work hard, go through all the good times and the bad times, kind of thing. Because if you have the mentality, oh, I want an increment, I don't care, I want an increment, for example. So I tell you, your company is like trying to save money, and yet, right, you see, you're asking for increment or asking for a huge bonus. So in the end, your company, before that thing happened, the company might close down. Then you're left with no job at all. So I know it's not an easy time. It is a very bad time. In fact, a lot of my friends who are entrepreneurs, they are kind of very much impacted. Seriously, it's really not easy being them right now, and I do sympathize with that.
Absolutely. We are also feeling
that. Yeah.
I mean, what are your thoughts about that? Is that just an excuse? Would you take it as an excuse, or how would you react if your boss asks you that question, or tells you that fact that they're not doing well?
I believe I would accept it, because when you join a company, it's not only that you just work for them, but you also share the benefits of them expanding, like promotions, bonus, additional events, or some additional benefits that you get. So if you are willing to accept when a company is doing so good and you're able to accept all the benefits, I do think it would be hard for you as an employee to understand and just say, okay, fine, you know what, let me contribute a little bit more to the company. If this year you can't pay, you can start a negotiation. Maybe you can say, okay, can I get into something else? Can I do something else? At least could you, subside in some other ways? I believe there's another way you can angle it, rather than just taking a monetary value or expectation from your company. I feel that every employee plays a role, basically.
How about you, Nishan?
Well, I think it's an excuse nowadays. Not all companies use it as an excuse. Again, if it was the start of the pandemic, 3 to 4 months into the pandemic, and yes, because companies or any industry, for the matter of fact, was not ready at that point of time. It's almost a year plus. So you're telling me in a year plus, you couldn't figure out what is your contingency plan. You see, like for me, right, I'm a little bit itchy hand. Like I will go and dig up if it's a MNC or a large corp, whether they're in the share market, how's their shares doing, client acquisitions, what's the expansion rate, and if all of those I see like a trending progression, and they use the term, "Oh, COVID pandemic has impacted the business," that's something that I would not mind. That's from a very different perspective I'm looking altogether. Like if it's with a startup, or yes, then the conversation is different. The pandemic plays an important role. But again, what kind of startup are you? Are you an F&B, or are you into technology? Are you into training and development, where you are into people's business? So that would be my perspective of looking at using the pandemic as the bullet lah.
I think I somewhat kind of agree with Nishan. I think a lot of it is an excuse, especially sakit hati. We were talking about it just now, Nishan. We watched England versus Germany yesterday. Everybody is not wearing a mask and clapping their hands. And
The agony,
and here we are sitting indoors having this chat where we could be having a coffee and talking about it. So yeah, I think a lot of it is an excuse. So let's move to the first question. How do you find the right words in a moment? Can you manage the exchange smoothly? So how would you do that, Izwan?
Okay. I would think like talking to a boss, I will give you an analogy because you deal with another human being. So it's example like how exactly you actually talk to someone, let's say your wife or whatever, when you first dated, when you first courting her. Then I don't really like, I'm not asking you to speak exactly like that, but the mindset, the mode. Example, when you talk to a person, especially your girlfriend at the time, for example, you do not want to say the wrong words. I know that's a bit too extreme, like until you filter everything out, right? But the point is that like I said, the kind of mindset, that means you are very wary. When you talk to your boss, example, you want to be open with the boss, but not to a point of showing your aggressiveness. Because why? We do not want your boss to get the wrong idea. That's number one. At the end of the day, the true message will not be delivered. So your boss will only look at 90% of your anger rather than the 10% of the core content or the core message, what you want to deliver, right? Because the message that's being delivered is something that your boss, who's a human being, need to process. But human being a human, your anger, your gesture, your body, or even the whatever you speak up from your mouth, that will not take long for him to process. So it will always be the front, because humans are very visual kind of creature, right? So that first thing it comes to his mind, oh, this fella is like disrespectful. This person is only thinking about me, that kind of thing. So it's pointless. So picking the right words is very important, not to sound it very draggy, but to a point of short, concise, but still deliver the message. But especially making your boss actually understand your concern. The problem statement must come properly. This is something like, let's say I say when you're courting your wife, for example, when you first dated, right? You don't just simply like, hey, will you marry me? No, ma. You don't do that, ma. Or you can start, will you marry me? No, you don't do that, right? What you do is like, try to like tell her like, actually, I'm a nice person, blah, blah, that kind of thing. So people will melt in a way, right? In a way. But what I'm trying to say is that you can be open and direct with the boss, but please, at the end of the day, come to a point of respect, right? Respect. Absolutely. And also the boss as well. The boss also should not have the point like, listen to me, I'm the boss, and cut him off. No. That's not right. Let him speak whatever he wants to speak. Get out his anger. Okay, you're done. Thank you so much for telling me all the info. Okay. But because the boss should not ever say, you're reporting to me, you're answerable to me, so now you listen to me. It doesn't work that way. I mean, we're not in the military where, if you're a sergeant, right, or the barrack, you say, answer. That's a different story. So the mutual respect must be there in a way that the employee needs to know he's dealing with a human being, and the boss needs to understand that he's dealing with a human being, not the machine that you can press a button and start to move like that. Yeah, so that's basically my thought.
I have a question. I mean, just to add on that, not add on lah. So, but is it like is it different when you work with an American mindset, European, Asian? How's the mindset there? Because like our culture is very different,
Yeah.
and because either the Americans or Europeans or the Middle Easterns, for the fact, uh, they have that rights always behind them. Especially in the US, everything they have, like, oh, I have my this rights, that rights, and then they are so confident to talk either to their bosses or the bosses, vice versa. But how is that here? Like, you have got a lot of experience, including Adam. How's the difference?
Okay. I would say that if you talk about American, it's yes, culture in a way is true. I agree with that. But one thing what we need to really understand is that there are people who who's like a foreigner, like American or Englishman, German, Japanese, or Malaysian, whoever, right? If we talk about autocratic leadership, we call it, right? Autocratic. Don't tell me that there's not even a single nationality who never had any autocratic leadership. Autocratic leadership is everywhere, every single country globally, right? And every nationality. So it's back to the individual. Now, the only difference is that I would say that if you work in an MNC, for example, American company or European, they're a bit more open. They're a bit more open, even though the person is an autocratic leader, but he's still giving a listen. But Malaysian companies nowadays, is way much better. We always have this kind of mentality, Malaysian company, these people, like, no, I'm the boss, so listen to me, that kind of thing. But I kind of noticed that Malaysian companies are starting to change. Because why? The generation starting to change, especially the youngsters. I mean, Malaysian company example, if the boss that say, I tell you, you follow, you do. You see what's going to happen tomorrow? You think the fella's going to come to work? Right? Our time is different. Our time, when our boss actually tell us like that, what do? Oh, never mind, just keep quiet. Never mind, I'll show you tomorrow. I'll do a better job. We took it a bit more positive in a way. Okay? But if you talk about the youngsters nowadays, oh, no way, man. So the game has changed so much. So much the game has changed. So I would think that it does play a role if you talk about working with MNCs and non-MNC, but the autocratic leadership still will be there. Because that one's very dependent on individuals. I've seen before people who's actually either an American or a German or even British guy, right? So they're still very autocratic. So it's not nationality, it's individual.
Absolutely.
Nice.
I think we had a question from one of the viewers.
Yes.
All this can also be categorized as toxic environment. How do we change it? Yeah.
This one, very interesting. Toxic environment. Okay, simple. Now, let's put this into perspective, analogy of a family. Let's just say there's a family with 10 kids, right? Parents, 10 kids. And the family is a very toxic family. In a way that this brother tried to, like talk bad about the other brother, like the mother, that kind of, they don't really support each other, right? So at the end of the day, if you think about it, who is there to be blamed in a way? Let's ask everybody online. Who do you think should be blamed if you have a family that's very toxic? Is anyone going to comment?
I would say parents, definitely.
I would say the leaders.
Who is to be blamed? Right? Okay. If you ask me personally, if you talk about the family, sorry to say, it's always the parents. So same in an organization, it is always the leadership. The leadership. But we have to take note, if the leadership is creating that toxic environment, it can be two reasons. Number one, either the leadership itself wants it to be that way. I know this is a bit, people like, you think that there are leaders who want the whole place to be toxic? Well, yeah, there are some people. I mean, if you talk from an autocratic point of view, that's what we call divide and conquer. Right? That's the thing. But there's also why the leaders became that way, because they didn't get the right information of what is going on down there. Because number one, the employees down there never tell what's going on to the management. So the management think everything is fine, and nobody objected to that management. Oh, boss, yeah, I like you. True. That kind of bootlicking kind of thing. So if no one has ever objected him, so if he come up with a statement, do you think he's wrong? He will never think he's wrong. And also it can be because why? The management doesn't really go down and really look, go where the action place is and really sit down and really experience in the working environment with the employee. So, like sitting on the ivory throne. So he thought, everything's fine. Just like I said, like parents staying in the bedroom whole day, never come out, while the siblings are arguing in the kitchen, in the living room and stuff. So when the father actually came out, everyone holding the other brother. Oh, you guys are very good. Huh? Yeah, I'll take care of my brother. No problem. That's the kind of analogy. That's why I say at the end of the day, it's all about the leaders. This is where the leadership plays a very strong role in actually building a culture.
Absolutely. But also, I think there's culture, right? Culture is sometimes it is grown or it's cultured over the years. For example, right, when you talk about having a toxic environment or even building a toxic environment, it can start with this as small as nasi lemak bungkus for my boss. It starts with that. The employee and leaders are sometimes put in a very difficult situation that at that time to receive or not to receive that nasi lemak bungkus, which is probably like RM1.80. And then it becomes the next day again another nasi lemak again. Then you get a Starbucks, then you get KFC or whatever not. So this is also, it builds towards not only a negative, feeling, but also let's say for example now we're going to have that same performance review we had earlier, and I have been giving Navin nasi lemak bungkus for 1 year. I've also been giving him Starbucks for 6 months. I have invested a percentage of my salary towards making my boss happy, so he has got a full stomach, he puts some kilos and he's happy, so
that's why I gave you the bonus.
Bonus is one of one increment. Okay, anyway, so
my point is that
it's a very difficult situation. Like as a leader, sometimes you get presented with this, or even as an employee, receiving a nasi lemak from your boss, that's my boss's job. He must feed me. He must provide me food if it's necessary, correct? So it's all right for the employee to get it. But that culture, where MNC or not in Malaysia, we all practice it. We all buy nasi lemak for our boss. We buy mee goreng for our boss, whatever it is. So that also can kind of impact the conversations. I'm just putting this out there. Might be a little bit controversial, but yeah. Anyway, so let's move to the next slide.
The ultimate question.
So boss, when can I get a promotion? Been here for 5 years already. No CDP ka?
So for those who don't know what CDP is career development plan. In different organizations, may be termed differently.
Yeah, it could be called PDP.
Just give a hand.
What are your thoughts, Izwan?
When can I get promotion? Been here for 5 years already. Okay, this is a very classic example of a person who expects a promotion based on seniority.
Yeah.
They always used to say that, hey, I've been here for 5 years. That means they will use the point of loyalty. I'm loyal to the company, right? Well, true, but you need to look at if you're here for the 5 years, but you're not productive. That is very similar of being disloyal. It's like you're here or not here, you're a dead wood in a way. But people do have that mindset of, because I'm with you for so long, so I need to get promoted. This kind of culture, I would say that a company should have actually set that kind of vision to the organization or to the company, saying that we reward good works or we reward good results. So if you set that align, so that means the person will know to say that, oh, that means if I stay for so long here, if I don't deliver, I will not get promoted. That's why I said to kill off the expectation at the end of the day, because people will always have this expectation. People will always strategize, like you said, macam-macam. Like maybe I buy nasi lemak every day for my boss will promote me, maybe. Or maybe every day I say, hello, good morning, boss, I will get promotion. People always come up, that's normal. People always come up a lot of ways. But unless if the vision is being set right, our vision is this department, for example, is we're talking about result. Okay, let's say we want to achieve sales growth of 10% in the next 2 years, 3 years, or that, right? So people already know that is my expectation. Whatever you do, you buy me nasi lemak, you do this for me, you do this for that, I will still go back to the vision. So it's a job of a boss to actually state that this is my KPI, this is what I look at. I'm not going to look at anything else. I'm going to hold on to this. Right? That means the boss needs to give that. I'm not saying the boss should tell directly, hey, don't buy me nasi lemak tomorrow. I'm going to throw it into the bin. Don't do that. I'm saying the boss's approach is keep on reaffirming. That's why I always like when I have a morning meeting with my team, right? I always go through the vision or the goal of the year. Go in again and again, go into the head. So because if I keep on mentioning it many times, more than 30 times, the person actually knows, oh, this fella really look into this. He's not going to look into anything else already. Every day he's rewinding it like a broken tape recorder. So they kind of find out already, okay, this is how we need to be aligned to him. So that's why I say a boss is something like a parent who needs to set the expectation to the kid or to the son or to the daughter. Not just like I tell you one time, finish. Okay, no. You have to repeat many times. Then the person will think, oh, he means business in this. Okay, but I say,
sorry, just for the sake of this conversation. So I'm an employee, 5 years working in this organization. I have been performing, but I haven't seen a promotion. So how would I approach my boss? How would I have that conversation with my boss? It's a difficult conversation, and especially as an Asian, right? I mean, I'm not trying to say we don't have these difficult conversations, but we find it as a block, a stumbling block for us to, move forward or ask that question, because we feel that, oh, my boss will come and tell me if I'm ready for a promotion. If I go and ask him, it seems like I'm being greedy, or, I'm pushing myself, like I deserve it or whatever not. So yeah, how would we handle this?
Okay. Let's do a bit of this kind of exercise. Now, look at Nishan, for example. Nishan is spotlight. Now, is Nishan good looking or not?
Tough question.
Is Nishan good looking or not? Or we should ask everybody also. Everybody.
All will be obligated.
Is Nishan good looking?
Subjective.
Adam said subjective. Navin, I think Navin is like. Navin always try to pick on Nishan. Hey,
thanks, Faizal. Faizura. Good. Thank you.
Okay, my point here is this. You see, something that is subjective will always be, it will end up in never-ending debate. And never-ending debate. That means, from your point of view, you feel like, I think I did a very good job. No, I done this, and that. But from your from the boss's point of view, no, you're not. Because you know why? Because both of these parties don't even actually know what goal they're setting up in the first place. Like, give you an example, like in organization, the boss said, I want you to do improvement. Example, I want you to do improvement. Okay? Improvement is still very generic. It depends. That kind of half empty, half full kind of glass scenario. So then one fella is speaking the duck language, one person is speaking chicken language. Right? Yeah. Padahal actually both of them by right should be talking in a horse language, example. Right? So this is the problem. So usually if you want to set that expectation, it must be something that is very measurable. I always, when I go my staff's example, when we talk about the earlier goal, right, the KPI, right, it must be something that cannot be contented. Okay, we talk about improvement. Let's say I'm talking about from Lean Six Sigma point of view. Okay, I wanted to do improvement projects. Okay, I want you to do 10 improvement projects for this year with the total savings of maybe, let's say, 50,000 per year, for example, by finance. You see, it's something that no one can actually challenge. It's clear cut, right? So stick to that. Always stick to that. And then also for an employee to actually show, to actually prove that he or she has achieved a good performance for that year. I always believe in this. Always keep all your evidence. Like for me personally, I keep my evidence. At the end of the day, you might never know. Right? Something like I said, boss are also human. He or she may forget. I'm pretty sure you guys have heard this story. People always say, I know one of my friends make a joke about this, and I carry this joke until today. If you really want to get a good increment, good bonus, Q1, Q2, Q3, don't work so hard. You work hard in Q4. Because that's when your boss will remember. Your boss will not remember achievement in Q1, Q2. Q3 maybe. Q4, he or she will remember. Because that's what. But that is because the person is a human being, right? So that's why I said always have everything prepared. Everything all prepared. And when it comes to a deadlock, okay, boss, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to embarrass you, but I think we should talk. This is what I achieved. Okay, sure. This and that. Help your boss to recall, because I said there are many cases you guys may have heard about. Bosses say, "How do you want me expect me to give good increment? I don't even know what you're doing." You see, this is very common. Bosses, you expect me to be able to read your mind, right? So basically, an employee should help the boss to recall in a way.
Right. Like I think also there's some things that we can do. I mean, a lot of people will be fearful of asking for a promotion. Fearful of stating what their career path is. So what they can do is, one thing is just to have a conversation with your boss and plot out your career in the organization. So tell them that my target by year 2 is to achieve this. For example, to be promoted to a level 2. And year 3 is promoted to level 4. And set expectations that are fast paced out. So for example, like if you really want to achieve it in a year, you tell your boss, I want to achieve it within 2 years. So, if you feel that you don't want to cross that border too much, you don't want to push your boss too much. And then it's also very important, secondly, is to have temperature checks with your boss. Always organize, have your one-to-ones, but the one-to-ones is happening from the boss's prerogative. What you can do is you can also do another catch-up in between and say that I'd like to speak to you about the CDP plans that we have spoke about earlier, address it. And like what Izwan just shared, have your proof. So basically show them what is the development, what you have done extra this month, how are you working towards your goal. So that way it doesn't seem that you become too overwhelming and saying that, I need a promotion. It doesn't come to that stage. It shouldn't have been 5 years later you ask, boss, where's my promotion? It should have been like, in stages, and you can plan your career. So as an employee, I think that's very key. Especially in our environment, we need to address it in stages, because you sometimes frequently get your bosses changed. So you may speak to your boss this month, next quarter might be a different boss. So yeah, you need to document it and then hand it over to the next person. Only then you can see success in your organization. I think this is how I was able to get like 4 promotions in 2 years in my previous organization. So it's all about how you want to document it and plan it with your boss. If you don't plan it with your boss, then it's not a fair question to ask after 5 years, if you ask me. Yeah, so let's move. I think we have really good conversations so far. So a few golden questions. You want to know. Hi, boss. I have been working so hard and have not taken leave for the past year. Can I get a pay raise? Why is there favoritism in the office? I never get recognized. Always the same fellas. Boss, I disagree with your performance assessment on me. I think you are being biased and you don't know what I have been doing. So these are common questions that are being asked or statements being made by employees or even by bosses to their bosses.
But I think
Naveen, what are your thoughts? Oh, Nishan, okay.
No, I mean the first two, the first one and the last one, I think we almost covered it up. But my personal favorite has always been this favoritism. It's always been lingering around for ages, and for me, favoritism, I don't know. It's a very, again, I don't know whether to be subjective or not, because you are doing your work. You have your goals set in mind. You are chasing your boss to get your deliverables done, so that you make sure that whether it's year-end bonus or increment and whatever not, or you're looking for a promotion, you are keeping your self-check in line. But for my other colleagues or friends were working around me, they've always felt that yeah lah, this fellow all the time with the boss lah, always hanging out and trying to win his heart. But when I hear it, I feel very bad about it because that wasn't my intention, nor that was my idea. So I've never been on the manager's side receiving this complaint, right? So I don't know how maybe Adam and Izwan can share, or Naveen also want to give a thought
on the favoritism, right?
Yeah.
Okay. This is very common. You always hear it. You see, and like I said, a very toxic environment in an office is when people start gossiping, start even going into very personal. From a normal saying that, hey, this person or boss's favorite blue-eye boy and things like that, it can even come to a point people start saying that I think this person having an affair with the boss. You see, that's a very toxic environment. They started going, what theories started to come. It may be true, maybe not. God knows on that. But however, when you talk about favoritism, now, what is that person being a favorite in the first place? It can be really because of true favoritism, or it can be in a sense of the person is always updating the boss, or the boss actually really knows how he or she is doing the work, things like that. So the boss, is easier for the boss to actually handle or drive the person. That's why in the beginning of the talk, I kept on saying that it is okay to always connect with the boss, always update your boss, no problem, because that means your boss actually knows that you are the kind of person who always come and update to him or her. So it's like he has a CCTV in front, virtually, like he kind of knows what exactly you do. You make it very transparent to him or her, so it's easier to work with in a way, right? But however, I admit there are bosses who go for true favoritism. That's a reality. It can be positive, it can be negative. Now, negative in the sense of maybe that person can be a fall guy for the boss. Okay?
Yeah.
I know, but that's a reality. I know this is something very taboo, but that's a fact. There are bosses who want this person to be a fall guy. Any problem? Hey, you settle for me. Right? And favoritism, because or perhaps the boss feels that this person is not a threat. It's not a threat, or the boss actually feels that if I were to actually bring up this person, his career and everything like that, he'll be more like able to help himself, the boss himself or herself, in delivering his or her KPI in a way, right? So that's why he always focus. Just like if you look at salesperson, right? Think logic. If you have a team of 10 salesperson, this one salesperson doing very good sales, very good, awesome. There's maybe like 2 or 3 not doing sales very good. Most bosses know what they'll think. I would rather focus on the guy that is doing very well. Because you know why? Because he or she knows this person can deliver. So I'd rather spend more time with this fella. Yeah, being with the winner, right? Rather than I being with this person, I try to teach many times, so he or she's still not going to hit the sale. I know it sounded like a shortcut, but that's a reality. That's why I said the bosses do need to change a bit of that mindset about growing the people, rather than spending with like this one. Just like you talk about school teachers, right? The school always focus on the first class students. But the last class student, this fella hopeless, this fella nothing, it's going to be a school dropout. So then he or she becomes a school dropout for real. Right? So that is my point about it. And favoritism, like I say, is quite real. I dare to say it is.
Yeah, I've been in it.
Were you the favorite boy or was?
Oh, I got reported favoritism happening to me.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So, but I agree with you.
I think favoritism, right, can work. Sometimes, there are a lot of people, a lot of employees out there. They set out and say that I want to become the boss's pet. They set out and say that I want to impress my boss. So I'm going to do this for him or her. I'm going to buy this for him or her. But let me tell you this, from a few books that I've read, a few books that have resonated with me. it is proven that if you take the path of favoritism, it really depends on your boss, the kind of person that you get. So if your boss, you become the favorite of the boss, at the end of the year at a review, or any conversation or any decisions that are going to be made for the company, you'll be the first person to get the negative review. Because when it comes to a metrics, when there's numbers involved, they can't cheat, that the leader can't change it. And they will go tougher on you because they want to dispel to the whole world or to the whole office that I or the leader has been practicing favoritism. So it can be super counter-negative for you, counterproductive for you if you are the boss's favorite at times. So you have to think of it from both sides of the coin. It can be good, can be bad. Good, maybe you'll get some extra entertainment and that kind of stuff, and you get some inside gossips. Hey, the company going to close down, lah. That one all you might know. But but otherwise, I don't think it's of importance to be the boss's favorite. You can be friends, and now the environment is like with the new generation, right? They are very outspoken. Gen Z or whatever gen we are in. What gen are we in now? Gen 2.
Z. Z.
Gen Z, huh? Z, yeah.
Z.
Gen Z, they're super outspoken. They will just speak their heart out, and they don't really have like paradigm set and like blockages with bosses. They just speak to everyone and anyone. They're very formal, informal, and formal also. So yeah, I think this is something that probably was in my era, or probably some like Navin now we know was a favorite boy of once. I don't know who, but yeah. Oh, Gen Z. Okay, thank you for one of our viewers.
Adam, I want to add something.
Yeah.
Just something. A good point. Okay, I'll give you an example. I'm not, because I'm a science fiction fan, right? So
right.
I think you guys have seen you guys have seen Star Trek.
Of course, yeah.
Right. Have you seen the newer one or the older one? The William Shatner one.
I've seen the older one and the newer one.
Okay, good. If you recall the TV series or even the movie, okay, Captain Kirk, James T. Kirk is the captain, right?
Mm-hmm.
So do you notice there's these two person by his side will always squabble because they have different point of view.
Yeah.
But Captain Kirk will pick either one. Example, the two person will be Bones. Bones, Dr. McCoy. Remember? Mm-hmm. The guy's a medical doctor. He was like, man, he was always like very sarcastic and all that. The another person will be Mr. Spock, the science officer, Leonard Nimoy character, right? The Vulcan. So if you look at it, right, actually, if you look at the series, you kind of see that, okay, this Captain Kirk is a bit more favorite towards Dr. McCoy, right? But, right, there are many times you feel like, hey, I thought this fella very close for McCoy, but actually he's also quite close to Mr. Spock. Yeah. It's just that he doesn't really show that much of an affection to Mr. Spock as much as Dr. Leonard McCoy.
Yeah.
Because there are at times they can squabble a little bit because this person based on logic, and Captain Kirk kept on trying to teach Spock, not everything is logic. Sometimes the most illogical decision is the right decision, right? Because sometimes Captain as a leader, you have to follow your heart or your instinct. That's right. So my point is that how to become a favorite of the boss is someone who's trying to say, I want to be a favorite of the boss. The answer is super simple. Don't talk about buying nasi lemak or whatever lah. Show your value to the boss and to the company.
Absolutely.
If you're valuable, you are automatic a favorite. That means your boss can have heard people say your boss can have 20 favorites. That means the whole team, all of them show the value. Then the boss have 20 favorites.
Absolutely. Well said. I never looked at Star Trek like that, but yeah. All right, so let's move to the next one, Nishan, if you don't mind. Questions we avoid to ask. Navin, why don't you go through this, since I'm sure you want to avoid this question.
Questions we avoid to ask boss, I need more training to deliver my job better, but was not given the chance. Always overloaded with no bandwidth. How can we work this out? Or else, boss, I disagree with your performance assessment on me. I think you're being biased or you don't know what I have been doing.
I think we already asked that earlier. So let's focus on the training. So it's always hard to, I think, ask your boss that I need more upskilling. I need you to invest on me. It's so hard. How do we ask our manager or supervisor or director or whatever that I need more help without sounding dumb. I mean, like not dumb lah, like without sounding helpless. Izwan?
Okay. You're requested for training. But if you look at the question, say, okay, requested for training, but the boss never sent because the boss don't want to send the person because the boss said, no, you got tons of things to do. You know, I don't want to take a risk to pull you out to go for training, right? Because it can be two things. Because the boss has never thought about the coverage of the person. So if it's not about training, right? If the person were to leave the organization, the boss is screwed. Because there's still business continuity, you see? The boss never thought about business continuity. Now, let's just assume that the boss never thought about that. But you, let's say Adam, for example, you still want to go for training. You feel that you need this, right? I know it sounded a bit gung-ho, but this is how I would approach, if I were you, Adam. I would always build my own successor or my own coverage on the side. I don't need to go to my boss. I built my own coverage. But that's just me, right? So example, let's say Adam is my coverage, right? We honestly work together, right? I train you up a little bit on my process, for example, my staffs. So you also, hey, good lah, I get to learn a bit now from your side, right? Okay, right? Then when I request for training, if the boss said like, oh, cannot, you got tons of work to do. Never mind, Adam will cover for me. Adam knows. I already taught him everything already. Then Adam like, yeah, boss, he taught me. You know, that kind of like very strong collaboration and teamwork between peers. It's not all the time. It's between collaboration between you and the boss. It can be between your own peers. People never try to look into that. You see, you know that people say like pakat in order to convince the boss. People like to pakat to boycott the boss, but never try to pakat to convince the boss.
Yeah.
So that's the thing.
I think that's a very subtle way of saying that, I need help. I need training. I'm going to build a BCP for myself and have someone else to do my job. And then now you can send me for that training that I need to go for. Another way that we can do it and look at it is, this is how I tackled it in the past. I wanted to go for this certain training, but there was always this issue of bandwidth. So what I did was every 2 days, I would send an article about that kind of training, what can be learned, and what can the company gain from it to my boss. I would email my boss. I would slowly keep on giving that information and build the need for that training instead of just going there and asking them like, you know what, I want to go for this training. It's good. Or complaining at the back end, like what Izwan just said. No, you complain and you want to pakat and complain about the boss. Hey, you never sent me for training. You know, I feel horrible now because you don't care about me. So I think it's important for us to build that value. And this BCP idea, building a succession plan, that's really good. That's a really good point, Izwan. I love that. Never thought of that.
Yeah, we wouldn't have thought about that. I mean, like, it's a different perspective altogether. I think those who are viewing out there, I think you need to learn,
Yeah, just imagine you have a meeting with your boss, Nishan, and you tell your boss, I want to go for training. Boss say, cannot lah, there's no bandwidth, you cannot go. Hey, no, I already have somebody back up for me. Oh.
Yeah, that's like, in other words, if you want how you handle your boss, right, you need to think just like your boss. You know, it's like if your boss were to come with excuses. Oh, I have this, I have that. The person be like, okay. He has everything, homework done. So at the end of the day, you gain the trust from the boss. The boss actually knows, you know what you're talking about. You know how to handle yourself. You are independent. That's what most bosses are looking at. But like I said, the problem why the bosses, until the employee had to go to that level, right? The issue is because the boss themselves are not being sensitive or know the team or the workforce very well. That's why, to a point that the employee had to resort to like that, to that kind of extreme. You see, but for me, in my point, why I would do that, for me, okay, my boss is a human being. I know what I talk about, like he should know the workforce. That's something, a very ideal case. But this person is a human being, but I know got his own shortcomings. But never mind, but I still want to go for training, for example. I don't care. So what I do, I play my own way, in a way that, fit to the boss. Okay, boss, I don't really call team really. Don't worry about that. Okay. So as time goes by, you will gain the trust of the boss. That's the most important.
Absolutely.
Right? Because people always have this feeling, You the boss, what? You should know what. You see, people always have that mentality of you're the boss, you're getting high pay, you're getting 5-figure, you cannot even do this simple thing. You see, people always say he should know what. It's not about whether he should know. It's whether does he really know.
Absolutely. So I think this conversation can go for hours. I think you mentioned that earlier, Izwan, that these kind of conversations can go on for hours. Unfortunately, we've reached to the tail end of our program today. I think we should have difficult conversations part 2 coming up maybe in a few weeks. Maybe we can tackle more controversial issues and more taboo type issues. But yeah, thank you again, Izwan. The insight was amazing, even though it's been just jammed up into this past 45 minutes or so. So let's go to our promo first before we say our goodbyes. So we are currently having a Lean Six Sigma Green Belt self-paced X promo. So obviously it's in sync with what we just spoke about training. Usually a green belt will cost you around 6,000 to 7,000 ringgit. But we're having a promo, because things are not looking so great in the market, and we decided to market at a no frills type of program. So this is a no frills Lean Six Sigma Green Belt. There's absolutely no fat in there, and very little fat actually for us to pluck out and have a meal maybe. But this is basically for everyone and anyone to do their Lean Six Sigma Green Belt. Contact us if you're interested to have this Lean Six Sigma self-paced program at RM 1,610 ringgit. Obviously, one of our penyokong tegar, or our supporter and sponsor, looking for air purifier, water filter, or a lush mattress, Part 1 Kowe. So please contact Mr. Part 1 Kowe at 012-530-6500. You can visit his Facebook link also. We'll probably put it on the chat. It's facebook.com/Part 1 Kowe, all in one word. And lastly, of course, we want you all to keep your eye out for the HRM conference that we are organizing on August 4th and August 5th. We got a total of 9 speakers from around Malaysia, all awesome individuals who are experts in their industry. We got people talking about HRM itself, about Tibet. We even have a psychologist on board. And we have many people who we feel that are able to contribute towards improving the human resource scene during COVID and also post-COVID. So please contact us if you're interested. We have tickets available, and we will also be running a promo in the coming week. So please look out for that promo. So that's it from Sembang with 10X, edition 5. Difficult conversations. Again, a wonderful and big shout out. Thank you to Izwan. Thank you so much, Izwan. We hope to have you back again soon.
Thank you. Yep. Thank you, Izwan.
Thank you so much, Izwan.
Thank you. Thank you to log in.
Thank you to all our audience, friends and families.
Thank you, guys. Please like and share.
Yes. Like and share.
All right. Enjoy the week, guys. Stay safe.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.